has been chosen carefully by our masters. We take it so easily. Salutation to Sri Shankarana. That's a simple translation. But salutation means namaste. One meaning of namaste means not me. Then who is? The Supreme Consciousness, existence, consciousness, and bliss. So, salutation has physical connotation, has mental, and also the spiritual. At the mental level, we say mental maturity is required to discover the real self. And at the spiritual level, we become aware of the existence, consciousness, and bliss. That real self dwells within all of us. In second line, Guru Padam Bhujanmane, it's a confirmation. What is the confirmation? You see that I'm using a different language. To the lotus feet of the Guru. So, lotus feet of the Guru means many things I explained you. There is another meaning that I keep aside, that I-ness and my-ness. That is the symbolic meaning. That is the symbolic meaning of to the lotus feet of the Guru. Second line, third line. Savilas Mahamoha. Now our mind, we as a human race always ask the question, I'm coming to you, why? I'm eating the food, why? Why? So that is answered in third and the fourth line. Savilas Mahamoha. So why we need a mental maturity and why we have to move our mind within to addressing the great play of delusion that entangles the mind. Delusion causes the suffering. So let us find out all the layers of the delusion. And what this delusion looks like? The monster of ignorance. The monster of ignorance. And the master gives a beautiful example like a crocodile when it catches the prey. You should watch on the Discovery Channel. When at the moment they catch the prey, and crocodile starts moving in a circle at a high speed. Why? So the entire prey breaks up into pieces of flesh and then he devours it. So here it is compared with delusion, with ignorance, and that causes the suffering. So we can also say that it is all the suffering. So last time, those who have attended the Thursday session, I said intellect and the Eastern knowledge of the Eastern wisdom are the intellect. So it is the intellect that builds up the I-ness and my-ness and causes the suffering. And when we remove this, we discover our real self. Just notice the thoughts, feelings, and emotions are coming and going. Whatever is happening, just notice. Notice means observe. Notice means being aware. Awareness is required to notice. And then what happens? This awareness acts as an observer. What it observes, the thoughts, feeling, and emotion. What the mind says, you have an anxiety. An observer says, no, this is a thought of anxiety. There is a word anxiety, but I'm not. Can you remember the way I just said you? And you will see, oh, I have a big ego, I just want to confront this guy. So this is a thought. So once you start observing by separating, you have a witness consciousness, you investigate. I told you the method of poise, POI. And then what happens? We find the self, we find a space. So the moment we find the space beyond the thought, feeling, and emotion, we simply drop Om Shanti. Where? In that space. If you don't find the space and you are doing Om Shanti, that is known as the habitual and repetitive practice. Are you getting it? Eastern wisdom is very clear about what it teaches, how it guides, where, how, when. So what I said, you find the space and there you say Om Shanti. In days and weeks, and sometime it takes months together. Now anytime mind on one side says you are in anxiety, on the other side of weeks and months of practice it says Om Shanti. And then you have a big smile on the face. Anxiety does not exist. Reaction does not exist. Why? They are part of the delusion. I just explained you practically, pragmatically, the example of crocodile revolves around after catching the prey. So we too become aware of I-ness and my-ness. And then we move around until it is broken. The beauty of this is that it is not only broken, it dissolves. You don't see them. There is a clarity, there is a peace, there is a joy. And now open your eyes. You know Saraswati, Ashok knows. Saraswati is known as the goddess of knowledge. Knowledge. Eastern wisdom, knowledge of Eastern wisdom is the greatest wealth. In our tradition, we compare the knowledge as the greatest wealth. Like you have dollars in bank account, you have a house, we say movable and immovable assets. But in Eastern wisdom, the knowledge is considered the greatest wealth. Question is why? In Eastern wisdom, you always ask why. No, I just pray God, why? And if you don't ask the question, then your mind is working at impulsive, habitual level, ignorance. It will not work. It has not worked. Anyhow. Now, why it is known as the greatest wealth? We spend you spend more of this wealth, it increases manifold. You spend any other wealth except the wealth of the knowledge, it decreases. You have $10,000, you have spared 5,000 to me, so you decreased. Thank you, Christina, for your gift. I appreciate. So I never asked, but because of that knowledge, it happens. So this first thing, what is the first thing? That you spend this knowledge of Eastern wisdom, it increases manifold. But we have to answer this, how it increases manifold. We have to answer this. I still have 72 audio files of my master. And I pick up one or two, depending on the time. He taught us 30 years ago. I go through it. At that time, 20, 30 years ago, mind was not mature enough to receive the right wisdom out of that talk. But now when I listen to it, I get something more. It increases manifold, one thing. That is why the Master says, we have to listen and learn, contemplate and reflect. Second point, you pass on this knowledge. How you pass in those knowledge? By repetition, by listening, learning, by contemplation, reflection, and by applying in your life. How do you apply? By thought, speech, and action. By your attitude, behavior, and conduct. Whatever you listen today, you just start applying it. So what happens? When you apply this, you become very clear about your I-ness and my-ness. I will react. No. Now you are applying that knowledge. I-ness, you recognize the I-ness. Oh, it has caused the reaction, it has caused the suffering. It happened to me. I feel that. So mind is not mature enough in the beginning, but when you decide to apply this knowledge in your daily life, it helps you to grow. Now what is happening? You are increasing the wealth. The more you use, the more it increases. More it increases. The more it increases. I factually want to prove it by a metaphor. Jerry knows it because of her profession. We always have a blood donation drive, right? You donate the blood. What happens? That blood is produced by your body within. Nothing comes from outside. Same way, when you apply this knowledge, that knowledge is produced, it is revealed from you within. Pay attention, it's a very important concept and the principle. The more you use it, it increases manifold. How you increase it? By shaping your life, by getting rid of your ignorance, by your thought, speech, and action. Where you say that, I'm very busy, I'm awfully busy, that is why you are suffering. You are awfully busy. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So Saraswati, I will talk about the etymology of Saraswati later. Saras, constant, consistent flow. So when the knowledge flows consistently and constantly, where? In your intellect, you are there. That is what the journey of self-discovery is. But don't take it lightly. I gave you an example. 30 years ago, I had the audio file. I heard him. It gives me a new meaning. Oh, now I think I have understood now, which I have not understood 30 or 40 years ago. In Eastern wisdom, that is why we say the knowledge and understanding are considered the highest forms of the wealth. A person may lose the money, possessions, or status, but if you possess the true understanding of yourself, they can rebuild. You can rebuild everything from the wisdom again. One of my class friend, or you can say one of my very close friend, Devi, that Ashok knows and Samir knows. We lived almost, for 30 years. So he had some fear. Oh, you are going to US, people will want to listen to you. I said, this knowledge, everyone has to listen. The moment it is taught properly, people will understand the importance of it. It is the greatest wealth. So now apply the principle of physics. You see, I teach in a different way. My master used to teach in a traditional way. So it comes because of your understanding. It increases manifold. What is that law of expansion? Knowledge multiplies when shared. You have to share this knowledge. But first, before you share, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared with your thought, speech, and action. Material wealth decreases when spent, when shared. Knowledge increases when given. So when you are sharing this knowledge with your attitude, behavior, and conduct, that is the first step. With your thought, speech, and action, that is your first step. It is not that, honey, you sit down, I will teach you. Many of my students did, I will teach you. So, and their partner never joined the session. And then they complain to me that, look, my honey is not changing. He or she is not interested. I said, are you listening for yourself or are you listening for your honey? It will not work unless you translate that. So when you draw, another example my master used to give, it was many a times, when you would draw a water from the well, well? In olden days, we used to take the water out of it. Do you refill the water into it to take the water out, or it is produced from within? That is the power of Eastern wisdom. Or that is the power of East knowledge, any knowledge. Transform through application. We have to transform listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, and practice. Mainly three steps. You increase this knowledge. And I admit, 30 years ago I did not understand. But now when I went through again, I listened it again, I contemplated, I said, now I got it. Oh, this is what my master used to teach. So this master is saying that is the mental maturity. Now coming again to the teaching of the sea. This is known as the mental maturity. I'm mature. That is why I'm blaming and complaining and reacting to the world outside, to the people outside. No, you are totally immature. Why should I blame and complain and react to anyone? Let me change my life first. In the morning, I got a call from one of my classmate again, another classmate. So he had a heart stroke, and then he fell down and plaster in his right hand. His wife is committed to serve. She never goes there. So out of the joke I said, it is prarabdha, it is your past birth, past life. You have done something good to your wife. That is why the wife is serving you. No blame and complaint. We are in Eastern wisdom, we understand each and every action, each and every suffering, how we can relate it, and then we want to discover. So that helps us to lead us. Am I storing knowledge or living it? Understand? That is another question I'm asking. Am I storing this knowledge or I'm living this knowledge? Ashok sir, I'm living this knowledge or I'm storing this knowledge? Do I give freely of what I have learned? That is another part. I don't want to touch it, but yes, sometime I charge, sometime I say, okay, you can join, but again I get the reward of it. But what is most important is that you know it with conviction and you pass in that knowledge. Whether you charge or you don't charge, it will work sooner or later. But at the same time, you will find that your intellect is nourished by sharing, reflection, and humility. You are walking at dusk. There is a rope in a circled rope. You see it, you say, oh, there may be a snake. That is ignorance. Mind. You rely more on the mind, you will have a problem. Suppose your boss sends a short message. We need to talk. And your mind imagines criticism or failure. It creates the projection. We are talking of ignorance. That causes the suffering. Hours later, you learn, oh, it was about a promotion. It was not about any anxiety. Relationship. A friend looks distant and the mind concludes, they are upset with me. Your partner is busy in something. Why you are upset with me? Unnecessary. Mental maturity, knowledge is required. So that assumption breeds tension until you find they were just preoccupied. The snake was imagined. In that respect, the rope and the snake example was given by this master. The famous rope and the snake metaphor doesn't only expose how fear arises from ignorance, it also reveals how pleasure and attachment emerge from the same mechanism. The mind don't just project danger, it also projects delight. Both are misreadings, both are misconceptions. Simple example, I will marry and be happy. Marriage does not have a property of happiness. It doesn't mean I'm not against it. I'm not against it. We simply have to understand the marriage is a projection, is a snake. Where I want to extract the happiness, not possible. We have started talking of the ignorance. We should be very clear. The mind interprets every experience through the lens of the past impression, past sanskaras, prarabdha. When these experiences are pleasant, we crave, we want to repeat it. With unpleasant experiences, we fear, we want to escape from it. How many times we escape, how many times we are attracted to the pleasure every day? Are you understand? How many times? That is what Master is saying, mental maturity is required. I'm trying to be very logical. Today is a good morning. What happened is a good morning, and what happened is a bad morning. Projection of the mind. We need a mental maturity. Why we need a mental maturity? To recognize the ignorance. So fear is a projection in the snake. Pleasure projection, good food or anything. Relationship, consumer. Our mindset is full of consumership. Now ask the question, why? Mind, I did not tell you to project snake in the rope. I did not tell you to project pleasure in the partner or a honey, and still you are projecting, but why? We have to find out the reason. So I just give you today the three reasons. There's a partial information. At dusk, you look at the rope. It is not clearly visible. There is no full light. And because of the partial information, you label with your information and you say, okay, you guess. You make a guess. I know my honey very well. First you know yourself, then you should know your honey. I don't know myself. And I claim that I know honey. Oh, that is why I got married. That is why you have a problem? So where the soulmate word has gone? Partial information. Second reason is the conditioning of the mind, heavy conditioning, social conditioning, cultural conditioning, religious conditioning, educational conditioning, plus the memory. I have seen the snake before. Snake is dangerous. It is poisonous. That is why my mind projected the snake over the rope. So it is because of conditioning and memory. Third, you can say the emotional reaction precedes the truth. Fear or desire often arises before verification. Very important point. The emotional surge feels real, even when its cause is false. Fear, pleasure, pain, pleasure are twins. We are lost when there is a pleasure from the world outside. We have a fear and pain. Still, we are lost in pain. As such, neither the fear nor the pleasure are present in the world outside. Ignorance. That is what the ignorance is. So the master is saying, I have to be aware. Mental maturity is required. I have to keep aside I-ness and my-ness to see through. How? By reflection, by contemplation. No, I'm upset with you, but why I'm upset with you? My mind wants to react to you, but why I want to react to you? When you find it, one core reason, I-ness and my-ness. I'm related to you, that's why I want to react to you. Or I claim that I'm related to you. Do you react to a stranger outside moving, walking outside? No. So that my-ness is already there, I-ness is already there. I started the journey explaining you the Mangalacharan mantra with that reference, ignorance. If you get rid of the ignorance, then I said Eastern wisdom is, the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom is the greatest wealth. How come? Why? You just prove it in your life. You will always be happy. I can bet you. Then you express a happiness going on vacation. You don't start searching happiness in a vacation. Then you express a happiness with your partner. You are not searching the happiness there. Neither fear nor anxiety. You are free. So it means self-fulfillment is there, yes. That is one of the most important characteristics of awakening. Now I'm relating it to what we did last week. Last week we said there is a family of delusion, I-ness and my-ness. I-ness, we understand ego, identification with the role. I'm husband, I'm wife, I'm owner. A my-ness, you see? My-ness. My-ness comes because of attachment. Not that minus. My, M-Y, is attachment. Possessiveness. Both foster suffering. Anxiety, conflict, and ignorance. Then we understood that this layer of identification of I-ness and my-ness are at three levels. The physical layer, the physical body, identifying with the body, role, possessions. That is our physical body. Subtle level, mental layer, identifying with the thoughts, mood, and emotions. I am sad, I am creative, I am good, I am bad. Second, you have to contemplate I-ness and my-ness. Where? How it comes? There must be a cause. So we have three bodies. First body, physical layer. Second body, subtle layer, mental. Mind, memory, intellect, ego. Third layer is the causal layer. We discussed in detail about the causal layer. The deep seat, also you can say the deep seat beliefs, our prarabdha, our past impressions, our subconscious programming affecting worldview and reaction. How many people favor, how many people want to go towards Ukraine, and how many people wants to go towards Russia? There's a lot of difference. Past impression, belief. But one thing is clear, the war is not good. We don't want to stay there. We want to stay why, how, with the half partial information. So what we should be doing, we are removing that ignorance layer by layer by understanding what we understanding? Eastern wisdom. Eastern wisdom is nothing but the knowledge, instrument of knowledge. It has only twofold goal. It brings an end to the suffering from your life and it awakens you to your true nature. So what the Eastern wisdom does, self-inquiry. Systematic self-inquiry. What is the first principle? Discernment. I'm just summarizing in a different way because the future sessions are little complex. To end suffering and realize our true nature as absolute existence, consciousness and bliss. How? First I have to apply the discernment. I have to recognize the temporary identification in the physical, mental and the causal bodies. At all the three levels, not only the physical. At the mental level also, I have to find out those identifications. Those attachments, I have to get rid of it. How? By constant practice of discernment in my life. My mind is full of rage and anger. It is going to be expressed, I told you, thought, speech and action, attitude, behavior and conduct. And then I'm asking the question why I'm reacting. And when I'm reacting, I go to the root. Where is the I-ness and my-ness? Let me find out. I-ness and my-ness? That is why you are reacting? Remove it. And then find out whether there is a reaction. Reaction is, it takes time. It's not one day affair. By repetition. By repetition. You go, the moment you have lot of reaction, it's better not to say anything, remain silent. And if you have a time, go back to your room, close the door and I-ness, my-ness, I-ness, my-ness, recognition. Where is the attachment? Where is the I-ness is working? I have to reflect again and again. No, he said me this thing and she said me this thing. But what it has to do with my reaction? There is no cause. People say so many things. So you have to contemplate and reflect again and again and again. You have to remove the snake over the rope. The rope does not have any definitive cause for a snake. Why? The snake does not exist. The water does not exist in the mirrors. What we start doing? I want to set my hairstyle by bending the mirror. That is the great ignorance. So I have to recognize my foolishness. So we need a great courage to do that. That is why the master says you have to start with it. The power. How come we can do it? We have a power of intellect. Intellect has a power. The power lies with us, all of us, provided we are human beings. I believe we all are human beings in this session. We have a power of intellect. We have a rare opportunity. And that is why I discussed the three gifts last week. The human birth, rare and special. I'm now 66, so yeah, I'm going to be 67 in December. Human years. Do you know what is the lifestyle for mosquito and flies? Human birth. In terms of the age also. In terms of the intellect also. I have a choice. I can exercise, I can create a choice. My mind is full of reaction and rage. I will create. No. Let me move with the peace. It is the intellect which works. But that intellect is available to the human being only. It doesn't mean that the other animals are not intelligent. Are you aware of the seal found in uh, Antarctica and Arctic Ocean? Yesterday I was looking and I was moved by the existence which provided the intelligence, pre-programmed intelligence to the seal. So scientists says that uh, they come on the surface to store the oxygen in their body, and they can live into the water and into the freezing cold water for 30 minutes. And now it's on the surface there is always a snow. So now mother found now 30 minutes is gone. What should we, how can I save my child? So the seal mother creates a bubble by throwing the air into the water, and it is sucked by the child. Intelligence is always there. There is some intelligence, supreme intelligence. That is what we are searching. But here we have an intellect, rare and special. So after understanding the Eastern wisdom, we should have an intense desire for awakening. Intense desire for awakening. But how to awaken? Knowledge of the Eastern wisdom is available. It has been available for the last 10,000 years. It is also available now. Look at it. 3 gifts. So instead of intense desire to get deluded, to be angry, to be agitated, I should have an intense desire for awakening, and the knowledge is available. I already have a human intellect. I can carry on my journey. Whatever you are doing outside, keep on doing it. Do it better. Carry the 3 gifts with the care. We don't cherish our being a human being. We don't cherish. If you get agitated, if you are reacting, if you are fighting, if you are projecting the pleasure, if you are blaming and complaining, we are not cherishing the human life. How many times you did last week? Don't answer me, but you have to think yourself. How many times you cherished human life? And how many times at the time of reaction in seeking the pleasure, no, let me have an intense desire for my awakening. I have to find out peace and happiness within me. Peace and happiness is, then what I have to do? I have to spare it for others. How? By transforming myself. So again, I'm selfish. We are selfish. We are transforming ourselves. In that process, others are also benefited. Instead of sparing your reaction, your ego, you are sharing your happiness, your joy. It will increase. I told you. That is why I started the very beginning. It is the greatest wealth. Greatest wealth. Ashok has decided from today that he will spare happiness and peace, starting from his wife. Right? Say yes. And the mind says, she doesn't listen to me. How can I spare? Finished. Ignorance is there. Are you clearly understand? It does. No knowledge of the Eastern wisdom, it says you need not to be dependent on anything. Ashok has gone to teach, that's why video is not seen. Awaken intense aspiration, yes. discern the essential nature from. Oh, you have returned. So, now see that I almost this session is full and complete. So I have an intense aspiration. I cherished my human life, that I am a human being, I can choose, and Eastern wisdom, knowledge of Eastern wisdom is available. And then what is the first step is the discernment. What I discern from essential to incidental. I am reacting today. Just 5 minutes before, was I reacting? No. So my intellect thinks, I was not reacting 5 minutes before. Now I'm reacting. It is incidental. It is temporary nature. Temporary nature is not mine. Even if your ego pushes you to react in 5. No. We may commit mistakes. But gradually we know how to withdraw by the power of discernment. Detachment is there. Power of discernment is power of discernment. So then again we say what Eastern, I told you, Eastern wisdom is just a knowledge. It increases. The more you contemplate, but why it is temporary? So the mind, because of attachment, running after 3 categories: possession, pleasure, position, to maintain the I-ness, to cause the attachment or detachment. We will open it, but understand this. Discernment. I have to find out what is temporary, what is permanent, what is essential, what is incidental. From there, I link that what to do, why you are saying this. I'm very relaxed and happy today. But you were not relaxed and happy yesterday. You had I-ness and minus. If I challenge your position, you will react to me. Oh. So I-ness and minus both play a role when my mind is seeking possession, acquiring material things, inherently temporary and external, pleasure seeking enjoyable experiences, fleeting and often dependent on outside factors, position, gaining authority and power. You see possession and position, two different things. So I was in search for the acronym PPP, 3P: possession, pleasure, and position. The position, gaining authority and power, tied to I-ness and minus, directly or indirectly. Find out. I have to awaken to that. So does it mean that I have to stop earning? No. I made it clear. The desire for permanent peace is there. Everything outside power, position, and pleasure are incidental. They are temporary. They are not permanent. Or should I go and tell my honey that you love me temporary? First, find out permanent love in you. Don't do that. First, you recognize what is permanent, then you can say that. I would say modern psychology is approaching there by its cognitive understanding, or you can say the cognitive understanding, cognitive change. But it is not, because they don't have the clear idea of the real self and the false self. They don't believe it. I don't know why they don't believe it, and they still want to manage the problems of the people. What is incidental? The drama in the life that I discussed last. Drama is happening every day. Every day the drama is happening. Different plots are made. I gave you the example of Titanic. Many plots, many actors, many actresses. Nothing happens to the screen when you play the Titanic movie on the TV. So permanent nature, that is my nature. I have to reach there. I have to discover there. Self-inquiry, discernment, reflection, using this metaphor to help the mind to drop the delusion. We have to use these metaphors. The more you use it and you continue three layers of the delusion means either I can say three bodies, how it causes the delusion, or I can say three layers of the delusion, three gunas. We discussed about the three gunas. Foundation is done with the humility. If we don't have that humility, if we don't keep aside our ego, it will not work. Humility is the source of limitation. I-ness, ego, is identified as a primary cause of limitation and the root of delusion. We are not talking of the ego that is used in the modern world. We become assertive, we become aggressive. No. We are talking of I-ness. I-ness, that I does not exist. It is based on the thought, feeling, and emotion. We are talking of that. So when you keep this I-ness aside, you will find the method is already available to you. So you can deconstruct the three layers of false identity. Physical layer, this includes the body, social roles. I'm father, I'm son, or I'm possessions, car and home. Identification with these layers ties self-worth to external and temporary things. It doesn't mean that we should not go for it. We should not earn it. We should be focused and we should increase our skill and knowledge and expertise in the area where we are working. Minus attachment. Minus my-ness and I. We'll understand ignorance in a deeper way. Second level is the mental layer. This layer consists of thought, moods, and emotion. Identification. What happens here leads to a statement like I'm anxious, I'm happy, I'm unhappy, I did not get my due share, etc. It's a long list. Blame, complaint. This is what the second body does. Whether I say second body, one teacher says, no, understand through the second body. Other teacher says mental layer. Second layer, subtle layer. Third layer is the causal layer. This is the deepest layer, holding subconscious belief, programming that shapes my world view. If you respect me, then I will also do this. World view. Are you understanding? Worldview. Worldview, narrow it down in your life. How many times you had anxiety, duality, conflict, blame and complaint? 10 times? All these 10 events, you claim these 10 events are permanent for your mind. Fact is they are temporary. That is the worldview. The problem is my-ness and I-ness. Or you can say the problem is three bodies. Or you can say three layers of ignorance. Snake is there, tiger is there, or now we have in Arizona a lot of spiders, so we are very alert and attentive about the spiders. We are not aware of this crazy mind which creates the delusion at three levels all the time. They are dangerous, more dangerous than the spiders, more dangerous than the rattlesnake. You can study rattlesnake Ashok on Google if you don't understand that. So, by the process of discernment, we start getting some reflection, some awareness that there is something that is permanent in me. And that is the point of departure. That is also the point of mental maturity. No, no, nothing is permanent. You see, this light illuminator. I gave you that example. The light is an illuminator. Illuminator, it illuminates me so that you can see me. It illuminates the computer. It illuminates the room. It illuminates mouse and keyboard and everything without any bias. No bias. Illuminates. Even if I leave this room, the light continues to have the same. It neither increases nor decreases. Last point, consciousness neither increases nor decreases. Tell me if the consciousness. Has the consciousness decreased over the last 100 years? Consciousness, mind, mental consciousness, that is your second layer. That has increased and decreased. Consciousness as such neither increases nor decreases. It hides because of ignorance. It shows itself in knowledge, in wisdom, and discernment. Consciousness is the unchanging witness. It is the illuminator. It is the permanent existence behind all the three layers that we are going to understand deeply in our future sessions. Last point, I am not the screen I gave you. Like the illuminator, light is not affected. Whether there is a criminal or whether there is a whether like the screen does not change. You play the romantic movie, you play Titanic. Just a minute, I got a yes. Treat all the changes as temporary. Second conclusion. Whenever you see the change, were you happy yesterday? Yes. Now, today, no. That happiness is temporary. Did you understand? Today, you agree with me. You offered me something good. I'm happy with you because of you. Temporary. Question your I-ness and mine-ness every day. Practice discernment. You will see the change in a week. Yes, we will now share our Dennis. You want to go first?
Some thoughts also related to the previous, the third session about the intellect. Uh, I think that the intellect that doesn't follow, even when understanding the principles of Eastern wisdom, doesn't follow these principles. This kind of intellect protects my ego, my I-ness, and it becomes the barrier because ego contains no happiness. And this kind of intellect is immature. It doesn't see that it is limited. It doesn't want to look beyond itself. But intellect that understands its own limitations and follows, not only understands, but follows the principles of Eastern wisdom, sees that ego is not something to be protected. It is just the instrument that helps me act and express in the world. And I think this kind of intellect is a helper. And from my own experience, when I follow these principles in my life, there is really no need to look for temporary peace and happiness outside. Peace and happiness just reveals. And how exactly it reveals. For example, the problem that seemed very difficult or unsolvable somehow gets solved without or with little effort on my part, or even without any efforts on my part. Or the people around me, when they don't get the reaction they expect from me, uh, they just get puzzled instead of following their habitual patterns. Sometimes they even start questioning me why I don't react as I'm uh, supposed to, supposed to impose. Uh, so little by little, this knowledge changes not only me but also the people around, even without any intention on my part.
Beautifully said. So here we are linking what he said is beautiful. The intellect that does not follow the Eastern wisdom, yes, but why? Mind is dictating. How? By I-ness and minus. Why it is dictating the mind by I-ness and minus? Because I'm living unconsciously and habitually. I'm living habitually, impulsively, and I start crying before you, and you start paying sympathy to me, and then I cry little harder. I don't recognize my own problems. You see the I-ness in one example of I-ness and minus. I don't see why you are crying. In Gita, which we are going to study after a few months, there the master says to the seeker, you are important. Why? You are crying. A human being need not to cry. At least you will remember when you cry. Yes, Samir. How are you?
Sir, I my my experience of last 10-15 years, I I do lot of practice. I contemplate and I keep on practicing. And one day after 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year, something strikes in my mind, and that is the principle which I thought that I should learn, and it erupts from inside me, and then that principle stays permanently in me. Whenever the problem comes, that principle comes and saves me from going into anxiety. I think I am.
Yes, yes, beautifully said. That is what I touched upon the first topic. Your regular practice, your regular contemplation and reflection reveals the knowledge in you. Reveals the
Yes.
knowledge in you like the water in the well. You need not to fill it up to use it.
Sir, now I don't have to think.
Yeah,
What principles erupts from inside me,
yeah.
that always comes at a savior. When I am going wrong, that principle erupts on its own and stops me from going into wrong direction and
That
tells me stop. And I
that is
stop and I am into peace.
that is a good point to be a great seeker. Understanding that is really beautiful. Dennis has explained differently, but he is talking of the same thing. But yes, it prevents me from falling into ignorance and delusion, which causes the suffering and reaction. Or even if I have expressed it, I can retrieve it. I want to go back to the humility. It happens, mistake happens. Beautifully said. How are you, David and Jay?
Thank you. That was a very powerful lesson. Lots there. The blood analogy or metaphor really resonated well with me because it's I'm starting to see this as I start my daily and evening mantras stuff. I start to see this inner wealth percolating up in my life slowly, and it's just fascinating how complicated we make our lives unnecessarily, where we have that true power and wealth within us. And I'm super excited to re-listen to this and continue on this
Yes.
journey. So thank you.
Yes, simply check how many times I had I will say events, but incidents of I-ness and my-ness, and hammer it by discernment. What is hammering? I have to think what I'm doing, what I'm doing, where I'm doing. Is it work? Is it temporary? Is it essential? The moment you start asking questions, the intellect will rise into self-awareness and it will drop it. That is what the Dennis was saying. The problem is dissolved. That is what the Samir was saying. That no problem. The solution comes on its own. Yes. So gradually we will recognize that power within us. We are going there, step by step. Beautifully said. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. Yeah, just so much to be grateful for with this Eastern wisdom. And, my journey goes, my first introduction to yoga was 26 years ago. And right away after my very first class, I worked too hard. I came out very sweaty, and the wisdom really sat with me because I thought this is what my mind thinks. And then I wanted so much more. And I've just been continuously on this journey. And I used to, when I read the sutras, really feel like I understood them. And then as I matured and I had more experience, I would revisit the sutra and I would get more pearls from the sutra and it would hit me differently. And then when I was so blessed to meet you, you've put it in such a functional way. And now I get to share that.
Yes.
And I really feel like I've come to that. So
Beautiful.
the emotion that I feel is such gratitude. So thank you.
Thank you. That's really good, Jerry. That is what we should always have. Vivek Khatir Viplava Hanupaya. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, first chapter, perhaps 14 and 15. Vivek Khatir Viplava Hanupaya. Hanupaya means the means of freedom, means of awakening is what? Vivek Khyati. What is the meaning of Vivek? Viveka is the discernment. So settling of the discernment in the intellect is the method to awaken. That is Patanjali Yoga Sutra. we all talk of the same thing. But here, that is the sutra, one liner. Here is a detailed explanation of the same thing. Here is a detailed explanation of the same thing.
If I could just interject too,
Yeah.
for what Jeri's saying, because I get to experience once a week one of Jeri's classes that she leads, and she's introduced this Eastern wisdom to these people, and she's created this huge following. I guess is I don't like using that, but just this huge power, and it's one of the only classes I've ever been to where at the end people are clapping because of what Jeri's doing. So that's because of you. So thank you.
No, it's all because of your revelation, your understanding, Jerry. I'm so happy. If you have a following, it's my following. It's everyone's following. That sense, that understanding has to be there. And basically this is yoga. Or you can say this is real yoga. But if you teach Americans this is yoga, they will say, okay, we know. How many postures we know? So I said it is better to say it East and West. And it is yes, very beautiful. I'm so happy and grateful to you all. And how are you, Christina?
Thank you, sir. Hearing of this, I am so excited as well to go back. I'm gonna, immediately listen to this once you post it. And Giri, that was beautiful. I felt very emotional hearing you speak.
Yes.
So that was very beautiful to share. And my takeaway, one that really hit me, was when you were speaking of, oh, how she said this to me or he did this to me. And we are not responsible for anything but our reaction. And that was something I needed to hear. So thank you.
Beautifully, yes. Yes, the moment it hits you, you just remain so. Why? Mind, why you are saying he or she? Why you are saying like this? Stop this. You can say in your mind, you stop this. And say it as many times and then answer why to stop this. It has nothing to do with me. It is because of the I-ness and my-ness. When you do this, you will recognize what Dennis was saying. The problem dissolves by itself. You have a revelation inside. But can it happen in a day? No. We will make a mistake. It is possible. 100%. We'll commit mistake, we will correct it, and we will change our expression, and that is how the life starts changing completely. Yes, do you want to share? Ashok is the star of this group. Like we have Arman in the group, in the Dennis group, who is also the star. Sometime
Sir, pleasure and pain are. Sir,
no. So that Arman, sometime when I'm speaking and I see the Arman, he says yes, he approves that, and I'm very happy. So yes, Ashok. What do you want to
Sir,
say?
pleasure, pain, both. I want to say that nowadays I'm observing that pleasure and pain are both are thoughts, and if we watch the thoughts, like we are the sky and birds are flying,
Yeah.
then we observe the thoughts, and then the mind will become more peace.
Yes. When the sky and the birds are together, when I-ness and my thoughts are together, that means I'm in anxiety. I have a stress. I have to settle a score with you. But when I separate, birds are flying, they are temporary, and the sky is permanent. So that sky is I-ness, real I, witnesser, observer. And the rest are temporary events. Then we are in that state. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.